concept of them coming up is very intriguing, and it'll be something to follow over the next couple of years here between the Mustang and the Camaro. And I don't know, talking about, I don't know if there's Kia Stinger is a real concept for it or not, or it's just a rumor, but it looks like it is rumored to be in discussions too. So if they had a third manufacturer, that would be cool, which might open it even more, because the more these cars look like actual factory cars, that's where the old adage, you win on Sunday, you know, buy on Monday type thing.
Is
Like,
Holden going away, or?
yeah, they're taking Holden away from the series. I think Holden in general is being taken away in Australia. I don't know that for sure, but I
The
thought I read that.
the model is discontinued.
Yeah, that's what it was.
What you're spot on, Greg, about this should be a NASCAR. This is a NASCAR. This looks like something you could buy. And if NASCAR was to build a brand new car for, 2023 or 2022 or whatever year they're doing it, why wouldn't it look like this? I mean, you are spot on with that assessment.
Well, here's a question for any listener out there that happens to be know of this. I'd like to know if there is an oval series out there for this car, because it does drive a lot, like a heavier car. We just ran the majors race at Mount Panorama, and I struggled with it just like I did in the big 1,000 marker race. But I'm really curious how this car would drive on the ovals.
But I don't know, like, even looking at that Mustang, it is not far off of what the production car. Like, obviously these are concepts, so we always, cars look a lot different under concept than that they do final thing. But if they're even close to this, it's a win, I would say, over there, because they love their auto racing over there in Australia with it, just kind of like we're passionate here about our NASCAR. And if they start making cars look like these and perform on the track really well, you're not going to have a problem selling cars and selling the sport.
Which might mean bringing in more manufacturers to our series.
Yeah, it's the difference between stock cars that race and race cars that look stock. So I think NASCAR would be doing themselves a favor to get back to stock cars that race, rather than just race cars that kind of look stock. And yeah, I think that would do a lot for the manufacturers, actually.
Now, this topic was started on the forums mainly because he called it the iRacing curse strikes again. And that's the idea that every time we scan a car or something, they go and change it, right?
Well, that's the only thing that doesn't get that type of treatment. It seems to be the oval or the cup cars. They've been the same the last little bit. They just get a little bit of tweaks here and there. Now it looks like that's a whole scanning of a whole new series after they just switched the body types in for these supercars that
Like
really
a year
handle
ago,
really,
right?
really nice. Yeah, they're really nice cars. But if they get like 3 or 4 manufacturers and they all look like this, man, that series would be popular. I could tell you that.
Yeah, we don't have don't excuse me. We don't really have to fight that curse with the cup cars either, because right now with the tight partnership with NASCAR, and if something gets changed in real life, it gets changed pretty quick on the service as well.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I wish NASCAR would take a closer look at those supercars and rethink their new car.
Well, we did have some inklings that they are. I mean, they're going to the sequential 6-speed. They're getting rid of the sheet metal and going with some composite bodies. So
No more five
it
lug
maybe
nuts.
happen.
Yeah, they're going to the single nut with an 18-inch rim. Like that's starting to look like it. We just never. The thing is, we've seen what the actual cup car looks like, a generic body of it. We've never seen a manufacturer put the body on yet, which I'm hoping next year, if they're testing more, when they start testing again, that they start showing some concepts of what that actually is going to be like too, so that people can relate to it a little bit more. The generic body is kind of like reminds me of what the COT was when it first came
Well,
out. All
and the
look the same.
camouflage paint too, that kind of hides the curves of it.
But when they came out with the COT, and they instead of trying for manufacturer identity, they were just trying to get rid of all the the shenanigans that were going on with the Twisted Sister.
The sidestepping child thing.
Toad out.
Well, I mean, they had Ray Evernham had found so many ways to get around those templates that it didn't look like a race car. I mean, it didn't look like a stock car for sure at that point. And then
Well, none of the sides matched.
yeah, and they tried to fight that with the COT, but then everybody hated the COT as well.
Anyways, good on the Supercar series for, coming up with something that excites fans.
All right. Next up, how to set your @drivers as your default radio. There was a forum post from Jason Karlevich about how he couldn't hear, people couldn't hear him on the All Teams channel. So staff member Tanner McCullough responded, showing how to correct the problem. And he really does drop some knowledge here. He said if you go into My Documents, iRacing, Scripts, Radio, you can set your radio scripts there that adjust which changes are muted, which channels are muted, and you're switched to under certain conditions. Like if you're in the car or out of the car, it'll switch you to a certain channel based on what condition you're on.
This seems like something that's been missing. As like this is the first I've ever heard that you can set it that way.
Well, it's probably been there. It's just when you start talking about settings that you have to go into a text file, that's the old school way of changing things. And for some people, they're like, "What's a text file?"
But why can't this be something that's in your sound settings, or like this? This could easily be a drop-down box somewhere in one of those tabs in the actual sim.
Have you looked at the AI file?
Yes, I know there's a lot.
There's a lot more stuff in there that's easier to just put in as a text line rather than having it all be on graphic interface pages.
Yeah, and I'm not going to say verbally what the codes are that you have to put into the thing. You'll have to go look it up in the forums, but it's out there. The forum thread's called "How to Set the @drivers as Default Radio."
So I was on my stream last night and actually had somebody come on and ask why I race. And the next article also, I mean, I gave a little bit of a short answer, but this guy, Martin Robertson, has a reviews editor in Eurogamer, and he wrote a really nice article that sums a lot of it up, and it just says a lot of the same things we say, but he did it very eloquently. He focuses mostly on endurance racing, and some of us have fun there too. So one of the neat things that he talked about is how cool it is to run when we're going from sun or nighttime to daytime. Excuse me for a second.
It is cool. I mean, I got to do that at Le Mans, and that was so much fun when it was the sunrise coming up, and to take that 2-hour drive where it's dark and then it's starting to get light and then it's like bright, and then I really felt like I had to put on sunglasses at one point because it just didn't feel, I was like, that's the natural thing to do.
Yeah, and he said that's his favorite time to race. I think he called it the golden hour. He had some kind of nickname for it. I read the article almost a week ago, so some of it's already a little bit hazy. And he talked about also how it's really good pickup racing in a lot of cases compared to any lobby. And we've got plenty of examples of things going wrong, but you do have the protest system, and they do officiate it better than any lobby in some of your other race game sims do have. Those are the two biggest points, is that the officiating is done really well. It's very realistic, and especially on the endurance racing side, the transitions from day to night, that we talked about that a couple of years ago when it first came out, that it just made everything so much more grand in that type of racing.
Yeah, and he gave a nice history in the article of iRacing, David Kamer, how he got it started, and so forth, kind of a history lesson, so to speak. I found that kind of interesting.
Well, and I looked at this when I read this article too, David, when I sent it across to us. I I thought it was quite interesting because I thought about myself why I race, and I think it's over the last or why I raced over the last year. For me, it's become or more apparent why I do is I like the immersion aspect of getting into VR. VR seems to be the thing that excites me the most now about doing all this stuff.
Well, VR is actually what brought me back to racing. I had, been big in R Factor back in the days, running just kind of on a one or two monitor setup, and quit for a while. And then when VR came out, I was like, I'm going to try that with iRacing, and came back in and tried it. And I was like, yeah, this is cool.
Man, for me, it's about the competition. It's about winning. It's about the thrill of victory on that final restart and get the job done. I'm capable. I know it. I've done it. I've won, 49 career wins or whatever it is. So that's why I race.
But it's not even that, Mike. Like even if it's that hard fought top five, or even when you're having a bad night and you can salvage something out of it, you get that. Like I know David, like sometimes even you, the last little while, you're in top split, and when you have you salvage a great race, knowing that, yeah, you're not as fast as some of the guys in there, but you, the feeling of accomplishment in certain parts, it makes doing this worth it.
Yeah, agreed.
And
It's
quite,
not just about the win. It's, hey, have a good run. Hey, I was a 20th place car, but I finished 7th.
and I'm going to sound a little Zen or Buddhist here. The irritating sessions, having the bad finishes actually makes those good finishes more valuable too. It might get just a little bit boring if you literally win everything.
Woosa. The other thing too, I was thinking is what makes racing fun for me now too is this, having a team to race with you know just the people that we get to race with. Like I've physically never met any of you guys, but I race with you all the time, right? Like I know you by a voice.
Yep.
Well, I'm just sitting over here like chopped liver, Greg.
Well, we've met once, but like you know what I'm saying, right, Tony? I mean, we're lucky to live in the same, like within an hour of each other. You know, David and Mike are 10, 20 hours away.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that is a neat part about it too, because we're all friends on top of this. So not only are we we're teammates, but I consider all you guys friends, and we've been around each other enough that it's morphed into that.
Yeah, before all of COVID started, we were all going to crash at Mike's place for the
That would
for
only
the
been a
championship
couple
race.
weeks away too, eh?
Yeah.
Crash on Mike's couch.
Well, I had a plan actually where we were going to park a big RV, a big rented RV, just
Are we gonna do the Christmas vacation movie stuff where we're out in the front lawn emptying it?
The sewer and the drain.
Well, Tony, you might be able to tell us a little bit about why the ladies of iRacing might like to race.
Well, yeah, absolutely, and I'll tell you, it's a lot of the same reasons why we like to race. And well, the Aftermath guys, Chris and the two Tonys, we made our debut commentating for the ladies of iRacing. They did 50 laps at Charlotte last Saturday, and it was a really, really fun race to watch. They didn't have the numbers show up like they were hoping. I think we only had 10 ladies show up, but they were still able to put on a little bit of a show, and we had there was the front 3 or 4, they were battling the whole race, and the winner was a very unexpected winner. She played the game right. She just kind of held back, and The front two were battling so hard they ended up getting into each other, taking each other out, and she came from third and just shot for the win. But it was a great race to watch. They definitely had a lot of fun, and I know we had a lot of fun calling that race. It was certainly a new experience, but yeah, it was good. It was really good. Did you guys have a chance to check it out?
I did. I watched. In fact, the battle for the lead you were talking about, side by side. I mean, they weren't given an inch, either one of them, and it was like, okay, who's going to blink first? And eventually, neither one of them did, and they wrecked each other out. But it was a great call to listen to you and the two Tonys, Chris and the two Tonys, call that race. When they got together, your reaction was pretty priceless.
Well, I think it was quite funny that I really wish we could have heard what Tony was announcing when he was unplugged there for a little bit at the start of that race.
Oh yeah, man! I'll tell you, it was probably like the best 45 to 120 seconds you've ever heard, and it's all gone to the wind.
It's pure gold, right?
100%, all lost.
I'll tell you my experience for watching, because I had my one daughter was watching with me, and my wife was in the background, could listen to it. I had it on my phone on the island here while we were doing some stuff, but I was really kind of engaged just to see how it was, because it was a different type of racing. Obviously, it would have been a lot nicer to see a bigger field, because that would have probably made it would have been more exciting to watch for you guys too, to see how you guys could have called that. But I think the three of you guys did a great job on it, and my daughter got to enjoy watching other women race, and showing that it's kind of even possible that it's not just men that are racing and doing all this stuff, that there's different ways you can get into racing, and I like to show her that aspect. So for me, that was kind of like a better moment just to watch that way. And but I appreciate that you guys did the call, and that it was kind of exciting to see you guys get that call.
And that Janice Tarson did post on our page, iRacers Lounge Facebook page, hey, they're looking for new drivers and new members for the Ladies of iRacing. So you listeners, get your wives involved, and hit up Janice Tarson over there at Ladies of iRacing.
Yeah, they're most definitely a very welcoming group, and it's very casual off the track. But for anybody that watched, when they're on track, they're all about business. I mean, they're still laughing and still having a good time throughout it. They're looking for ladies of all skill levels. It doesn't matter if you've never turned a lap. Look these ladies up, guys. I've said it before. You want an easy way to get new sim equipment or whatever. Get your ladies involved in this stuff, and it won't take them long to get hooked. I know, like Lisa, she's right in it. Like she was, throwing it down to me a couple weeks ago. She's like, when are you getting my rig done? Let's go. I'm tired of racing off this desk. And I've been hearing a lot of similar stories throughout that group, that they just wanted to, kind of see what it was all about. And next thing you know, like they're in it, they're enjoying it, having fun. They're getting to know the ladies, and as they say, off to the races, right?
Well, I don't know if Tony, was it coming through on your side that you could hear some of their chatter when you guys were in the commentating?
Yes, actually, I went back and watched the broadcast afterwards, and now I didn't realize that was going on. So you probably heard me talking over the ladies lots, because I actually had them muted. I didn't realize it was going through the broadcast, but yeah. So that's what was going on there.
Okay, yeah, because it was kind of hard, because it seemed like it was cutting in and out just to figure out what they were saying. Like, it was very dispersed. I don't know how much those ladies were interacting with each other while they were racing or anything, but there was definitely some discussions after some of the incidents.
Oh yeah, there for sure would be under caution and stuff like that. I know they don't want to talk too much, during the racing. They're focusing pretty good, but if they have us back, we do it again. There's a couple of things that I think we could do different, do better. Um, but all in all, it was a great experience for us. I know when we stopped recording, we I think we chatted about it for about a half an hour. We just had such a good time doing it.
Okay, guys. You guys out there like to win an awesome custom diecast made by Kyle Putz? Well, all you have to do is like the post on Twitter from Brandon Cattell and follow iRacing and follow Brandon Cattell on Twitter. And you will be entered to win a diecast car of his number 14 iRacing paint scheme diecast car that he uses in the Coke Series. The winner of this contest is going to be announced on October 27th at 8 p.m. And yeah, just go ahead and sign up and follow Brandon and follow iRacing, and you'll be entered to win this diecast car.
You have to comment "done" on the tweet as well. And I did this hoping to win this diecast. I love this paint job. It's the iRacing red, white, and blue. Kyle Putz does amazing work. I mean, I blew up the picture. I mean, it looks like a diecast you'd buy right from Plan B Sales or something like that. Very professional. It doesn't look like it's handmade at all. And it is.
We'll quickly get to the next topic here. The IRX World Championship Round 3 at Atlanta. Atlanta is an interesting high-speed track to go around here for these cars. And they had on Instagram they had a review of the IRX series final of the race. So here I'll go through with the results quickly here of the heats and the LCQs. So Subaru obviously dominated qualifying again because this is a high-speed track and they seem to be hard to stop right now. But Heat 1 was won by John Robertson and Sami Matty Trogan finished second. Heat 2, Johan Harth won and Joni Alakainen. Sorry, sorry about the name there. Heat 3, Tommy Hallman won and Bobby Zielinski was second. And then Heat 4, Mitchell DeJong and Tommy Mäkinen were 1-2. The first LCQ was won by Josh Fox, which advanced him. And then the second LCQ was won by Bo Albert, which advanced then too. So that created the field. John Robertson on the actual start of the race here got a great run down to the first corner. Completed the Joker lap early. A lot of the front guys completed the Joker lap early, and it wasn't a very eventful race. There wasn't a lot of battles, and I think a lot of it had to do with just because it's such a high speed track, and just didn't seem to be a lot of passing or anything. So John Robertson came out with the win, with Johan Harth second and Tommy Hallman third. And yeah, it was interesting race. It just I feel like the racing wasn't as good as it could have been.
Well, I mean that's kind of how rallycross goes, though. I mean it's who can get that hole shot, and get the lead off the bat, and then if you can get the Joker done early, and everyone's spread out, then it's like, okay, who's going to make a mistake, and if there's no mistakes made, that's where you're finishing,
Yeah, you're basically, especially at Atlanta there, it's such a long run to turn one, and there's so many mistakes that could happen at one. If you can get through that corner and get out of there quickly, like John Robertson did, he, it's basically, like you said, a hole shot and basically led the whole way through it.
Well, that's a new name to me, John Robertson. He won the Heat 1 and then the main feature. So, congrats to him. Next up, Tyler Hudson is asked in the forums for season 1 schedule submissions. And so he posted up probably about 30 different posts in 30 different forums across all the different series, putting up a template, an Excel template for the schedule, and asking the community to work together on a schedule. And so you can submit your schedule by November 13th via email, tyler.hudson@iracing.com. Now, he doesn't want a schedule from everybody. He wants the community in a particular series to work together on it and have one person submit the schedule.
I was thinking, I'm going, why is it? It seems like this is awfully early, but we're already halfway through this season. I can't believe how fast it's going.
Yeah, it's time.
One other thing that's coming up pretty quick. This is a reminder. We have the super session for the Porsche Tag Heuer Esports qualifying. It'll be running Saturdays at 14:45 Greenwich Mean Time. And it takes the top points and each points for the current race week for those who sign up. You must race during the week and score enough points to be in the top 30 to guarantee your spot. Then you have to register for the super session when the registration opens, which is 30 minutes before that 14:45 time. If someone in the top 30 does not register, that spot will go to the next highest person that registers. And it'll all take place within the Porsche iRacing Cup Series.
Okay, get it. My normal rant about the UI. Well, I didn't write anything up because Nolan Bates in the forums, he's from Texas, he wrote it up for us. He put up quite a list. I'm very impressed of things that he found in the new UI that needs to be adjusted. And so I'm not going to go into details about what I might have found this week. I actually stayed out of the UI this week and just used the website. But shout out to Nolan Bates. Go check out his post. It's called Some UI Issues, Mostly Minor, is what he calls it. But boy, he's got quite a definitive list going. And if you scroll down in the thread, he keeps on going. He does post after post after post of examples of things that don't work.
Are you guys twins, Mike?
Let's just get this guy on the show next week.
I was gonna say we could have a whole UI show. There's the other odd podcast we need to do. Mike and Nolan in his own show doing bash the UI.
I'll just read this one of the hundreds of things that he put in here. When filing a protest after a race, it'd be nice if the UI immediately informed you that there is a waiting period before you can do it. As it currently stands, the UI allows you to select the relevant information, enter description, and attach files. Only when you try to submit it does it tell you you can't do it. There was another part where he said when he was typing the protest.
The website's the same way.
Right. And if he clicks, like he'd type out the protest, and if you click out of the screen, like over in another part of the UI, everything you typed disappears and is gone. But anyway, that's just one thing.
On the website, the protest is a separate window, but it doesn't tell you anything about the cooldown period until you try to go ahead and enter the protest.
Right. Okay, Brian, how about help wanted?
Yeah, guys. So Greg West posted in the forums that iRacing is looking to hire a full-time employee as a quantitative tester with a focus on AI side of the sim. So yeah, that's pretty cool, right? So iRacing, they're looking for an experienced and a successful sim racer with knowledge of vehicle dynamics as well as an interest in AI to join the developmental team. How cool would that be? So yeah, the post is on the forums under Greg West in the help wanted type section, and if you have the skills and experience that they're looking for, maybe you could be a staff member of iRacing. Wouldn't that be awesome?
This is like a dream job. I mean, you get paid to race, basically.
It'll be interesting to ask Tanner though, because he just recently got hired. When it becomes your job, how much of a hobby is it still? I mean, it's interesting, but I've got love it, but at the same time, he probably can't ever really be a contender in the Coke series anymore.
Well, it's like mechanics don't like to work on cars, things like that. Like when you start doing something, it might not become fun. It would be interesting to find out if it is still fun if you keep doing all that stuff as a job.
I mean, the other thing I noticed is it doesn't say specifically that you need to be in Boston, where they're located. So it looks like they're open to working remotely.
I think Mike should be hired for the UI tester.
I used to have a job where I did software development and I did a lot of testing, what we call monkey testing. Yeah, I'm actually pretty good at it. But yeah, this job would be fun. I mean, you're really focused on the AI, but it says here your job duties: assist in development of the content, support senior production assistant in the improvement and development of AI, assist in line building and revisions for all forms of AI, drive AI correlation tests with focus on speed and consistency, and so on.
So, Greg, you remember that time we got intentionally wrecked at the Daytona 24?
Always.
This one is even more egregious than that one. Dave Cam, he comes in and says hi to me every once in a while on the stream. He posted a YouTube video of a serious MX-5 road rage. And the guy almost had some reason to be road rage because he did get hit by the same guy a few times, but he literally shortcut the course so that he could get back in front of the guy and then clearly took him out twice.
Now, Dave Cam does a good job on this video of not showing any names, not showing any paint jobs, not showing anyone in particular because that's against the sporting code. But he uses that as a good example of, hey, this is uncalled for in this service. If you guys see something like this needs to be protested. And so he's basically training his team or his people that watch. He's got 34,000 subscribers. Hey, if you see this is what you should do. You need to, report it. Now, I think even iRacing republished this video on their channel as well.
Yeah, and like he says, you do not have to be involved in the incident to report it.
Yeah, that's why the replays everything. Like you can go back and see what happens in a lot of these things.
Well, Dave does a good job showing the replays from different angles where you can really see how egregious the event is.
He's always done good content. It's really good to have Dave show these things out here because it's always fun to listen to him.
That guy probably won't be collecting any trophies for a while.
Yeah, so Annie from Snail Racing sent a post on her Twitter, a link to the virtual trophy cabinet.
Now, we've talked about this a couple times in the last 2 months, right?
Yeah, I went and checked mine out a couple weeks ago too, and it's crazy what I've actually accomplished this year, which I didn't think I've accomplished. But man, she's racked up a decent page here for 2020, and she's been going a year now. David, probably about a year.
I don't remember exactly, but close.
It hasn't been
But
that
yeah,
long.
she's got a win. She's got a lot of third and second places here. Fastest laps. It's I like going back to this page and seeing all the stuff that I've done with myself. But it's nice to see when she's getting some gratification by showing this and actually, seeing the fruits of her labor.
I think we're going to have to give Will a hard time as well. You'll notice he replies.
Oh, our
telling us to
former
check it
host,
out.
Will Gibson?
Yeah, he replies telling us to check it out, which means he hadn't listened to the last couple of weeks.
Ouch. No, we have talked
Busted,
about
Will.
it. Yeah, I think I remember saying that I think iRacing needs to build this into the UI, something like this. When you go look at stats, why can't it be pretty like this? And something that's very presentable and easy to see and nice to look at.
It'd be cool if they had like an actual cabinet where every track would have your best finished trophy or something on it, and you could keep. It's something to strive. Okay, if this cabinet's empty because it doesn't have a top 3 or something in it, something to strive for that track or something like that, or series of things like that.
Or some kind of virtual trophy room.
Yeah. I just think it'd be cool to, could you imagine, okay, for the whole NIS series, it has all the tracks for the thing, and you can go through your season. It only puts a trophy in if you're first, second, or third. So it would be empty unless you got a good finish. And then it would be like something that's like, you could go over the week before you start racing and go, oh, I haven't raced really good here before. Maybe let's see if I can get something in that cabinet. It's kind of like a goal to set for yourself.
Okay, well, we're going to keep moving. Earlier today, we got Season 4, Patch 4 release notes. It wasn't a very big patch. It downloaded pretty quick. Looks like they added track maps into the UI. They added AI racing for the Xfinity car now, the B car. They have AI at Rockingham Oval as well.
Did they say what tracks they've added for the Xfinity, or are they doing the tracks that the Cup cars are already on?
They don't specify. I would assume it's the ones they've already done before. Some X Audio support has been added for low frequency effects, engine sounds. This enables engine sounds in True Force when using X Audio. Now, I did the update. I ran the NIS race earlier, and in the race, my sound was completely different than it was Wednesday night. And this must be it, because my LFE, my big subwoofer behind the seat, was like way lower volume than it used to be on Wednesday night. So I haven't had time to dissect and try to figure out, what it is, but this must be it. What else they did? They made some changes to some of the cars. BOP on the Audi R8.
It took some strength.
The BMW
drafts.
M8.
They took some draft strength away from the trucks. For non-super speedways, so it's not as, you don't get as big as a draft in the trucks.
Yes, I heard I saw a thread about this. I didn't put it in the script, but there was a lot of complaining about the trucks and the draft, and these guys actually made some changes because of that thread, I think.
Well, and looks like they're showing again some GTE. They're showing balance of power adjustments, but just aerodynamic. They didn't give anything else than just that. It's saying aerodynamic downforce was increased on the GTE Ford or Ferrari and the Ford GTE. So I don't know. I guess they're just not going with that whole thing where they said they weren't going to talk about balance of power stuff.
Looks like they made some changes to the camera at Homestead. I wonder if that's for the Coke finale.
Must be.
Okay, so go ahead. I'm sorry, Greg. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, how about that merch, Brian?
Yeah, I was just going to say, how you guys like to get some new merch? Well, you can check out the new merchandise at simracingshirts.com. They have a whole bunch of stuff there, and they have a whole section with just for the Bernard Pollard Blackdale Jr. Stuff that's been pretty popular.
I like the Dirty Monkey Motorsports team shirt. I think John Fowler is with Dirty Monkey Motorsports, and he's got some team shirt there. That's pretty cool too.
Yeah, and they do COVID masks as well that have different emblems on them.
It's Bernard Pollard's signature.
And so they have streamer shirts. They have like 6 or 7 streamers that you can buy one of their shirts. They have the Bernard Pollard shirts, and then they have team shirts. There's a couple teams, and then they have the Sim 500 shirts.
I think it's kind of cool that they're doing the stuff for Bernard Pollard. He's such an interesting guy to he's so pumped about the sport of NASCAR and not being into it until now and trying to learn from it. He's been kind of, it's good to see someone so passionate like he is so far.
Well, I was telling Tony if there's a certain team or podcast that's looking for some merch to be created, maybe this company can help us out. All right, check that out. It's simracingshirts.com. Let's get into podcast housekeeping notes. Don't forget that we're on the Performance Motorsports Network. You can reach us at iracerslounge@gmail.com. And with that, we're going to go right into hardware software.
We'll kick it off with the SimCube Revision 2. And as I looked over this information, I was almost a little perplexed because you read the fact and it asks, is this thing different between the R2 and the R1? And the answer is no. Is this thing different? The answer is no. What about this? No. So it looks like the biggest change is in the power supply.
So the power supply is a single power supply now, and they have improved the cable length as well.
And as far as I can tell, that's pretty much the gist of it.
Okay, so keep that in mind. If you're buying a SemiCube, there's 2 different versions now, the old one and the new one.
So next up, guys, we have the Micro Center Racing Sim Builder. This is sent in by Will Gibson, one of our old guests. But basically, it looks like you go on their website and you kind of customize what your setup's going to be. There's tabs for your wheel stand, your steering system, and everything else.
Everything, like wheel, pedals, handbrakes, monitors, monitor stand, butt kicker, keyboard, mice, headset, and gaming chair, and so forth. And so microcenter.com has a one-stop shop situation here.
Yeah, exactly. It's really interesting. You can just completely build it from one section to the next. I think their styles are pretty similar as far as their racing rigs go. A lot of play seats, next level stuff. So that's where you get that stuff added to your system. I know the wheels are a lot of the Thrustmaster and Logitech wheels that are on their website. So yeah, it's one way to get yourself set up.
I don't think this is how I would do it, but it's nice to see that somewhere like Micro Center has a page for sim racing, for their customers that are looking to buy this gear, and they can put together a package, of stuff they want.
So I guess we have a thread here. I guess we were talking about cores and stuff last week about the new CPUs, but iRacing has never been a single core, has never been single threaded. So was it Konstantin Malslev? Sorry if I got your name there wrong, Konstantin. um, posted some a diagram of some of the cores being used, I guess, on his system while in iRacing, and David Tucker kind of got in on the action here on the forums, and he goes, iRacing has never been single threaded. We have always had two primary threads and a series of helper threads. We have a lot more threads now than we did even 5 years ago, but still two principal threads that truly matter when it comes to game performance. With X Audio and Particles, we are probably able to keep 4 cores reasonably busy at all times, and when new cars pop in and out of the session, the core count can go up dramatically. So it was kind of interesting to see that we've all thinking it's a single core sim, but it is actually doing more than what we've all believed it's been doing over the years.
Yeah, there's a difference between cores and threads, but as he states, there's really 2 threads, but they can have more if in certain situations. But they can use basically up to 4 cores, not just one, as far as cores go. So if you're looking at buying a processor, David's basically saying you need at least a 4 core,
And they did recently say in one of their patches that they've moved most of the damage model to its own thread. Am I?
And that might be
I
what
seem to
he's
remember
alluding
that.
to. There's
Yep.
been a lot of changes over the last 5 years.
So it might become more demanding as it gets further down the road too, right? Depending on what they need to do.
Yeah, and the reason we brought this up is when we talk about the comparisons between the AMDs and the Intels, we've always talked about the fact that the Intels have a faster core clock speed.
Yeah, and Scott Veltz, that's in this thread as well, he posted after David here. He had actually personally messaged me after our discussion last week, giving me a little bit of background into both of AMD and Intel's with the way I was trying to explain it, and he was explaining nowadays how they were working. So I appreciate the personal message there, Scott, and not setting me straight, but letting me know on the theories behind it, a lot of it, because I don't know a lot of the stuff about the CPUs. I was just going off of what I remember things used to be said as.
Okay, we're going to do one more quick one. It says boost your Wi-Fi speed. Greg, you sent this one in. I have no idea why. I think it's just like a Wi-Fi extender, right?
I don't even know completely. I was trying to see if this was even something that was plausible to even use. It's kind of like it's a booster through your signal plugging into. I think it's more just of a boost, or what you're saying there, Mike, like an extender to try and make your Wi-Fi different. But I mean, a lot of people are hardwired, so I don't know what.
Yeah, who's racing on Wi-Fi, right?
Yeah, I mean, Wi-Fi is you can't get the wires to wherever you are, obviously. But I've always just even if I have to, if I haven't run a cable to the room I'm in, I'll run it through the whole house on the ground until I can do it for iRacing. I don't think I trust Wi-Fi, but I think this was just a Wi-Fi booster, glorified Wi-Fi booster, I guess.
Yeah, it claims to virtually eliminate lag and disconnects, which they're trying to target gamers. I think it's junk, but anyway.
Well, the only thing that will cause lag and disconnects is a weak signal. If as long as you got a strong signal, you should be fine. The one thing about Wi-Fi is it's more susceptible to interference than a hardwire, right? So if somebody suddenly has a strong radio signal pop out of their, say you're in apartments, and somebody suddenly has something produce a strong radio signal, like a microwave blowing up or something, that could cause you to disconnect.
They used to say baby monitors and things like that would do it too. Was it not? I think if I remember correctly, I used to have Wi-Fi problems, and when we had the baby
Cordless
monitor
phone.
stuff going, yeah, things that are on the megahertz stuff, right?
Well, anything
Frequencies.
You start dealing with that, and different devices are allowed to interfere up to a certain point, right? That's all regulated by the FCC and whatever the Canadian equivalent is.
Okay, we're going to jump into results. Results are sponsored by the Eucora 2020 Throwback Indy Series. It was a new track record around Daytona Road Course by Brian Beard as he claimed the iRacers Lounge Pole Award the last round. Congratulations, Brian. Let's talk NIS. Let's finish up Kansas. Friday Open. Wow, I had a good run. P8. Strategy went wrong, but I caught a caution finally, and I was able to recover. Jonathan Dickert won that race again. He won the Wednesday and the Friday race, so congratulations to him. David, you said wrecked out twice.
Yeah, it was just one of those. They wrecked in front of me, and I couldn't dodge it both times. Actually, the second one, we came up. It was a short run at the end. We come up on a car who gets just a little loose, and I actually thought that the car on the inside had crowded me, but then the car on the outside went ahead and took credit for the wreck because once we went back and looked at the replay, he bounced off the wall and came down and knocked me into the other car that was also there, and you're going to race 3 wide at Kansas on the last laps. So although frustrating, that's the time to race that hard. So, it happens.
Okay, and then Tony Rochette, I'll take a P9 after people wouldn't get out of my line. LOL. Set ran better when I realized my steering ratio was still at 12-1 and not his favorite 10-1. Sunday Open, Tom Dreiling got a P13. He said, after being ARCA braked on lap 10, I decided to stay and see what I could gain back. Lots of carnage near the end. I'll take the finish. Tony Rochette, P11, just sucked this week here, and unlike the spring where I dominated. What's different?
And I don't know why my result didn't get put in here, so I'll come back to it. I don't remember what I did.
Okay, well, we're going to move on to Texas. That's where we're at now this week. Wednesday Open, David, you got the P23.
Yeah, I was horribly uncompetitive early. The set we ended up running with just did not have enough downforce, and even though we had it balanced, it was just wearing the tires out more than anybody else. I did find once I kind of figured that out, I made a ride height adjustment towards the end that made me competitive. But then again, I just got caught up in a wreck where I couldn't dodge somebody, and it was way down on power at that point.
You were way down on power, yep.
Yeah, it was 1,700 RPM.
We now have another set for that, though, so to counteract what our problem was.
Yep, and then I got a P12, not too bad. I felt pretty slow on the first run, but didn't take tires until about lap 60, therefore saving a set for the end. I was pretty fast after that, but got caught up in 2 wrecks. I was slow, and so I just hang on for a finish at the end there. Because of the wrecks, I didn't really get a good handle on if I liked the set or not. And then today, Thursday, I ran and I got P10. And I did run the updated set that Greg just spoke about, and it was much better, I thought. And it was competitive, for sure. I was leading, actually, with 30 to go. I had a little bit older tires, and with 1 set left, I was playing the same strategy from Wednesday, trying to save a set for that final caution, should it come out. But in this race, it did not. That was the last restart. If I had gotten a caution with like 15 or 10 to go, or even 2 to go, I think I would have had something for him for sure. Now, I wasn't the only one that had a set of tires in the bank. There were probably about, 5 or 6 of us running that same strategy. But all 5 or 6 of us pretty much got hosed because it went green that entire run. The set was good, though. Tom Dreiling was going to run with me, and he made that dreaded mistake where he forgot to register. It was top of the hour, and he went up to go hit, join race, and he forgot to, register. So he ended up ghosting my race, at least for the first run, so he could see how the tire fall off was and whatnot. And that was the first time that Tom actually ghosted a race like that. And he said it was pretty valuable because you could still feel the draft. He could get a feel of the set, and he could feel, what the tire fall off was, when did it start falling off, and that kind of thing.
I did find my results on the Sunday Open, and it was P21. I think I was just mediocre speed that particular race.
Okay. And that's it for results. So let's get into final thoughts. Brian McCubbin.
All right, guys. So right now I'm kind of I'm not able to race. I'm still tearing apart my system. Started building it back up this week. So still got a lot of work to do. Still waiting on my headset, which is supposed to come next month. So yeah. So right now I'm just withdrawing from iRacing, and it sucks. I really can't wait to get back into the sim.
Well, you're going to have a nice setup when you get it all up and running. So take your time. No hurry.
Well, and you're going to have a whole off season to get it fine tuned too, because by the time you get back, it'll be the off season almost, right?
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to catch any more NIS by the time I'm up and running. I'd be surprised, but maybe. I don't know.
Well, at least you still have the OBRL in the wintertime, right?
Yeah. I'll definitely be hitting the next season of OBRL. They're a little more than halfway through their season, so it'll start up at the same time as season 1 starts for iRacing.
Yeah, we got another team member who's moving, and so he isn't able to race right now because he doesn't have a rig set up. So he's jonesing too. All right, David Hall, final thoughts.
I'm going to talk a little bit of Pacific Majors this week. We got one race left. We're going to Indianapolis, Cali. We finally finished our road course, and even though I felt like I raced horrible, I somehow gained 2 positions, and I'm currently 11th in the Americas Pro, which is a tough division. So it's an interesting, humbling experience, but at the same time, I try to pat myself on the back and not feel frustrated that I'm still up there, with the big boys. I know we've talked Greg into joining it. That's going to be interesting if we can get him running next season. One of the things that's coming up pretty soon is they have a little winter series of their own that runs a lot of endurance races, and you have to have a amateur-rated driver and a pro-rated driver. And once you've run a season, they use your in-league stats to tell you whether you're amateur or pro. And I'm well into what they call the gold classification. So I got to pat myself on the back on that one. Hopefully Greg qualifies as an amateur. Otherwise, we don't have anybody on the team that qualifies as an amateur to run this winter series because it has to be a pro and an amateur. But looking forward to that. Also, I am qualified. It looks like, I don't know if I have it mathematically clinched or not, but there's 16 drivers underneath me to the bubble to make the playoffs, and the playoffs are across all 3 time zones. So I have made the playoffs in the majors.
All right, well done. All right, Greg Hectus, final thoughts.
If you didn't listen there, obviously there hasn't been any results for me this week or the end of last week. I'm still in the process of getting my PC back up and fully running the way I want it. I'm taking my time. I'm not rushing this. I just want to make sure I have everything set up to compete. Hopefully I'll have it all ready to go tomorrow night and run a Texas race this week. I don't think I'll have my stream up ready to go. I got to rebuild the whole thing too, because obviously redoing everything, I have all the assets and everything that do it, but I got to set up OBRL and redo it all again the way I want to. But eventually we'll get it back going, and I can get back on the track. Like I said, I'm taking my time and not rushing it here, because I did find some problems when I was redoing everything. So hopefully that some of those problems I've sorted out will sort out the issues I was having recently.
Okay, well, get that start at Texas. You need the points. So my final thoughts, I'm looking at the points. Division 2, NIS Open. David, you're running 7th. I'm running 15th. Tom Dreiling, 23rd. And Greg, 25th. Last one on the page.
Yeah, everybody's drop weeks have started to really become a factor.
It must
Now-
have hurt me. I really lost some spots when the drop weeks kicked in.
It brought me back
Same.
in. It brought me back in because I've had a good late spring to this point. I've had a great time, and I had a start of the year I wasn't so good. So was it 6 drop weeks? I'll drop off that were bad finishes.
Yep. And my I rating is really taking a dive. That's my final thought. I'm like at 2442 right now. Man, I used to be at, my high was 3,500, and I'm usually above 3,000, at least for the last 2-3 years. And to be at 2442, I'm a little bit embarrassed, but I realize it's not just the NIS that's put me at that number. It's the Sprint car. It's the 87 Legends car that's put me there. And you know what? I'm not going to not race to protect iRating like a lot of people do. I'm going to run what I want to run, and let iRating go wherever it goes. I don't even care. And so I'm not really, fighting in the points much this year. Running 15th. So I'm not too worried about it. I'm just enjoying myself. I'm running what races I want to run, and that's the way it should be.
Start chipping alt account.
Nah, I'll save my money. I'm not worried about it. Maybe if I was doing good in points, that might be a consideration. But when I'm in at 2442, I'm not in the high enough split to even make championship points to get to where I need to be, to make the top 10 or whatever. So a little disappointed with that, but we'll rebound, and with that, we'll see you on the track. Later.